Just for the record, I'm Mike Sanford. You guys know me. Thanks for being here. Todd, Jay, Rock, come on, Stacy. Randy, Tanika, what's the new name? Wickfolk. Kim Sutton, and Donna and Stacy. This is part of a speech communications course I had to take, and what this is a personal narrative regarding some of my religious experiences and how that has shaped some of my views. And in particular, we're going to talk about how churches fail, or how people fail the church, and in effect, they give a negative impression to somebody that may be looking for a new church, or maybe they've never been to church before. So, growing up, I never went to church with my folks. I don't think I ever did at all. Somehow we got to church, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know if somebody picked us up or what, but I remember the very first church that I went to was all African-American church. No Hispanics, no whites. It was all African-Americans, just because I had a friend that lived in this neighborhood, and this church was walking distance to his house, so by default, that's where we went to church. So I kind of got spoiled on that, as far as how churches, what should happen in the church is very, very lively environment. Don't know what denomination that was. I was really too young to understand what denominations were. But, after that, I went to Church of Christ in Irving, South MacArthur Church of Christ. I was baptized there. It was a forced baptism. I think Catholics kind of do the same. It's you're baptized without any thought. It's just you're given birthright. So then, from the time I was probably 7 until Madison was born, probably 23 years, never really attended church regularly, if you will. But when my daughter was born, we visited a Bible or a Baptist church. We visited Denton Bible Church, non-denominational church, Methodist church, and other churches of Christ. So we got a real good background on each one of those, and had a lot of I'm very open when it comes to different denominations. I really don't believe there is a right and wrong. It's all, if you think about it, it's theological differences and some of your interpretations. I don't think I've ever heard a preacher tell me that if you're a Baptist, you're not doing it right, or if you're a Methodist, you got it all wrong. I don't think I've ever heard any religious leaders say that at all. How are we doing with time? Okay. So, when I married Colleen, she came from she was a Catholic growing up, and her whole family was Catholic, and her family freaked out when we, started going to the Church of Christ, and she got baptized there for the second time. So, that was a big problem with her family, and that they just had a real huge issue with it. But, hey, come on in. But anyway, I just think that people put too much emphasis on we do it the right way and everybody else is wrong. There's more to it than that. So, I remember one church we had visited. The preacher's name was James Vincent, and we were visiting this church, about ready to place membership there. There was a split in the church because there was a married couple that was going to that church, and the husband had actually cheated on his wife with another church member. So this just happened as soon as we started visiting the church. Well, James was ministering to this male, and the church had basically locked this man out of the church. So, that just sent a very negative impression of that church to me. It's like, really, you're going to condemn this preacher for doing what he's supposed to be doing? So that just didn't sit well with me at all. So, promise we'd only keep you here for a few minutes, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. So in conclusion, when it comes to different churches and denominations, the only differences are theological. It's Satan would love to sit back and do nothing and let churches just destroy themselves. That's the easiest thing to do, right? Churches should pray for each other as well. When there's, churches don't necessarily compete for memberships, but people that attend these churches casually speak of, well, that church that just opened down the street, they'll never make it. They don't have a prayer. Well, instead of taking that approach, why don't churches pray for each other? Or better yet, you just stop your services for that first Sunday that other church is open, and you go, go pray in their house to show them respect. And when churches compete against each other, they fail God. It's not really that churches are, it's just the people that represent the church, and everyone's a representative of the church. And when they say things like, that Baptist jokes about going to lunch and all this other stuff, I know it's just a little joke, but it just doesn't come out right. And in closing, God doesn't care what church you go to. I really believe that. When everything is said and done, it's not going to matter where you went, as long as you went and you believe, because He cares about your salvation, not where you're going to attend churches. That's all I got. Thank you all for showing up.